Hi YouTube, this is Kissblade. So doing something a little bit different today. Just wanted to showcase because there seems to be some interest and folks who are having difficulty against higher difficulty AI without resorting to let's say potential cheese tactics such as maybe just sieging during home rule victory and building a ton of defense to stall out the AI, etc., etc. So this is a game where I play against impossible AI, and I just build what I do in standard PvP, using the same build order against just a random impossible AI, and just seeing whether or not that such a build is viable, and whether you can just simply play regular against the impossible AI without exploiting the AI behavior and taking a win. So let's just take a look. And yeah, spoiler alert, it does work, but it is a little bit of a grind. There were some mistakes I've made, but really it was just like playing against a player who was bad at micro but good at macro and getting unlimited feed. Pretty much no different than that. So yeah, let's jump right in and take a look. Okay, so we'll speed up this replay because it is an hour and 50, and I don't really think we need an hour and 50 to kind of like go through this game. So yeah, first things first, because this is a 1v1 random map, the lanes are a little bit bigger in terms of distances than you would as conventional aggro play. I wasn't actually aware of this because my initial hope was that the AI was going to be a little bit closer so I could immediately kind of jump to him and put some early pressure on. Because even though the AI is going to have economic advantage, they're not going to have build time advantage as far as I'm aware of. Compared to the average player. So as a result, if I build more ships early on, I'm still going to be able to outproduce him. I just won't necessarily be able to transition to higher tier at tech than he does, and so forth, because he'll have obviously the resource advantage over me. So in terms of my standard build order, going to start off with Temple of Harmony first, and then followed by Temple Hostility, upgrade the Commerce, and then followed by maxing out Mining, and then also starting off with the Rapture to start selling my starting item, getting Dominate, deselecting everything here so that's not on autocast. So for those of you who've watched previous videos, you should already know this is my standard opening. And then queuing up about 5 or so disciples to help me with the expansion path and just pushing faster. Of course, if I look at this specific map, I have two asteroids that are easy to clear. I have a volcano that's going to be slightly harder to clear, that I can maybe backcap later. But ideally, I just kind of want to push on forward because you want to secure as critical chokes in PvP anyway. So this is, as I said, I'm just going to do this as a standard PvP game. So one of the things is I'm just going to prioritize getting this primordial ASAP. So this way I have a critical choke that I can have on lockdown, and also if I need be, I could go back and retreat and regroup over it. It's also going to be where I set up my forward production center. All right. The main deviation here is the 1v1, so as a result, I don't know what minor factions exist. I don't have the Sorry Alliance on my team. We're also not guaranteed all minor factions, so I might not have Crystal Nanites, so I hold off on the influence. Instead, the first research I will do is thriving desert cities because it's going to be the best economic gain that I can have, as well as the extra civil slots. In terms of my Rapture, I'm going to mind control a Javelin that's at the garrison here. It has a derelict. I move my Rapture straight there after the mind control, so this way I can start already picking up this derelict. And I queue up Hostility once these are done. Of course, once again, the play for early advent aggression of any sort is going to be the Tempest. This is going to be the workhorse of your military early on, and surprise, surprise, I'm going to be building Tempest for a long, long time this game. In terms of this game. All right, so yeah, once again, we're just going to go. Oh, yeah, it's at 0.5. So after, yeah, let's just keep going for a little bit. As you see, we're going to keep pushing. I cleared this, move on forward to start clearing this. The way I'm going to clear this is also I'm going to set up a Temple of Pilgrimage to essentially both clear this and auto-colonize. Temple of Pilgrimage, what it does is if there are no enemy ships within a surrounding system to the Temple of Pilgrimage, and you get vision of it. That's the only thing that's needed. You just need to have vision, so you can clairvoyance it even. And there are no enemy ships, which includes neutral galaxies, so no hostile ships, actually, is a better way to put it. Then you will auto-colonize it, provided you have the colonization text. So the nice thing about the temple pilgrimage here is that I can also at some point send some stuff back here to colonize the, and kind of loop back, colonize the volcano, colonize the asteroid if when I'm done. And probably what I can do is do something like send the starting disciples back, or maybe build some new ships that just colonize along this way once they're of sufficient fleet strength. So yeah, so as you can see, one of the things I'm going to do is, because I am still waiting for this temple pilgrimage to build, I'm going to leave a cobalt behind, so this way I have vision, so that it will auto-colonize when it's completed. In addition, what I also will do is pick up these two crystal buffs, so this way I have more crystal income, because crystal income is going to be really important for in terms of Tempest building. And the same thing, as I mentioned, one of the main reasons to grab the Rapture early is because you want to get Javelins. Javelins are your main anti-cap ship, essentially arsenal in the early game. Advent, once again, doesn't have very strong anti-cap ships, so as a result, like in terms of options, actually, I would argue like probably throughout the game, cap ships, Advent just doesn't have anything that like reliably handles cap ships as a dedicated counter. So these Javelins are really, really nice because of the fact that they have really close to perfect pierce with the cap ships, so their damage is going to add up. And at this point, I start building Tempests. And once again, for Tempests, as you can see here, supply, shield, missile. As I'm grabbing these two, I'm going to tier up to tier 4, and that part of what's going to help with that is I'm going to have this Temple of Hostility in my, or Shrine of Prophecy, that gives me +3 hostility points, and also the hostility research bump in my home planet. Okay. Alright, so obviously picking up relevant text. Once again, same idea, Temple of Pilgrimage, hop over to actually auto-colonize this. The moment it's finished hopping over, I'm going to sell this by drag and dropping it, and I'm going to get a refund. I don't know when. I kind of noticed that. I should be doing it like sooner or later, but, well, it's not that important, but I do at some point. And then I move over, I spot that, okay, hey, this ice is, not too hard for me to take. I could go ahead and take this as well with with another Temple of Pilgrimage here at the building at the Primordial, and there we go, drag and drop to get a refund for that exact item. And in the meantime, I get supply, shield burst, and then research missile retargeting. Alright, and I'm clearing this out, not much excitement here to see. And one of the things I'll do here is I'll try to grab the logistics right away first. And the reason I want to grab the logistics right away first is I want to start queuing up these lesser factories, but as I said, this is going to be my forward base in terms of building things. So I pick up this ice. This ice is really critical because of the fact that I need this surface mining for, while keeping up my crystals for being able to supply the Tempest buildup. I'm going to skip this Terran planet. It has really great income, but it's just way too, the garrison's way too hard, I would say, for me to take at this time. It's not that I can't take it without, I could probably take it with very minimal losses, but I'm going to spend so much time here at this Terran planet. And since it's a 1v1, yes, this Terran planet is going to give you great income over time, as was this asteroid, but you know what? It's also about the delta of the income. Now, of course, against AI, it doesn't quite matter at Impossible. The AI has infinite resources on Impossible. But still, as I said, I'm going to try to play it like a regular PvP, so I would rather contest this specific volcano instead, because my hunch is he should be going here if he was a standard PvP player. He, of course, doesn't because he's an AI, so he goes here instead first. So anyway, I'm going to start making my way there. And if you look here, I'm going to not read too much, but I will get this Haven Dome for some extra credit income. But everything else is just standard colonization tech. I do pick up this influence because right now I noticed that, promises around Gauss turrets are going to be really handy for just that extra bit of defense. So I toss it, I think, over... I don't know where the heck I tossed it. I tossed it somewhere. I thought I tossed it up over here. Oh yeah, I do toss it up over here. Just for that extra bit of defense in case, there's come through on this side, coming from the asteroid through Pronost into my primordial. And I start moving ship through to start contesting this volcano. And when I come here, of course, I'm a little bit surprised because once again, I'm not used to playing against AI, but the AI hasn't made it here yet, so I just start clearing this mainly because it'll help me with some experience. So yeah, and experience on the Rapture, very very important. Malice, big game changer. I imagine especially so against the AI who micros poorly, so he will clump and then you can get a big AoE damage off and really really win the trade. So as I said, speaking of microing poorly, I've heard that like the Impossible AI likes to run a lot from fights, but he's very brave here. He colonizes the volcano right in front of me, and then he just starts fighting. This was kind of weird, and of course realizes that, oh wait, this isn't a good idea, but it's too late. The egg is taking way too much damage, and once again, as I said, I got 4 javelins pounding on it. I queue up to civilian tier 2 at this point because I just need that extra income, because otherwise I just cannot sustain Tempest production in this 1v1. So yeah, I also start researching purge vessels after I have picked up the 1000 supply, as well as the secondary missile tech, as well as the extra hull, because once again, these are all the best combat upgrades you could get at this point for your Tempests, and upgrades are very very important because obviously they will scale with the size of your fleet, and I plan on making a very very big fleet. So speaking of big fleet, you can already notice here I have 400 supply, and I think incoming in from the enemy is 515. Looks a little rough into supplies wise, but actually his defensor counts are completely going to be countered by my Tempests. And then on top of that, I could put my 4 Javelins on his cap ships. And these cap ships are actually not the most threatening outside of this egg, if the egg had AoE. But because the AI is not going to be good at microing, it has a bunch of garbage instead. So I'm not too scared about this, especially because I have a Vertigo as well to also give me that extra. And this is a little bit of just micro about like with the Tempests to try to ensure that we take advantage of the fact that the skirmishes have to keep turning, so you can see here. So because the skirmishes have to keep turning to try to focus the right ships, by microing the Tempest, you're able to kind of like split them around and so forth. You could now even though I'm outnumbered supply wise in the overall fight, when I split them around, I kill all the defensors, and now I have the smaller pack against my larger pack, while this pack can just keep running. Right? So I have this larger group kind of chasing this pack, the smaller pack cleans up all of this, and then I will have more supply by the end of that. So you can see this is going to be what happens. And you can see these skirmishers just keep turning around and around, they're now firing, and then if the AI essentially retreats, and look at this, 408 supply, he's down to 219 from that fight. Okay. So yeah, and then of course I do more damage, and I've also picked off, oh no, that was nothing that I picked off. And I'm going to chase, because, well, I just killed 300 supply and lost very little. The AI is going to start doing mass conracks, which is kind of nice because it's simulating closer to like an actual human composition. Mass conracks against mass tempests are very common for Sari versus Av matchup. And yeah, so we're just gonna once again say like do the same thing. First, I'm gonna focus down the smaller pack here. The Conrex are coming. They're gonna target my Rapture. I get a Plasma Nova off, which I started building over here at this volcano, thanks to this Fabricator, which will help me build the item much faster. Otherwise, you have a 1000% build time penalty for ship items with that in a system without it, as well as also the shield battery, because it will help me deal with the tank a little bit of extra damage from the Conrax. I'm focusing his egg here because it got pretty low. There wasn't that many other ships here that were that threatening, so I could have just focused the egg or the Marauder. The egg is higher level, so I kind of want to rather get that out of the way. So I'm kiting my Rapture here, but I make a jump. He jumps to follow, and I'm going to jump to follow that follow. So same exact idea, and then this is just a kind of like the back and forth jumping of where chasing his egg, he's trying to chase my Rapture, right? So I go here. The egg is already, because of the phase, Vasari is just slightly faster than the Advent when it comes to, well, actually it's significantly faster than the Advent when it comes to like these jumps and so forth. It's able to get away, so I don't bother with targeting it. I'm going to target the Marauder instead. Once again, same idea. You want to micro around to like dodge the firing arcs of these Conrax, so you lower their DPS as much as possible. And the whole time, you just, I mean, the game plan, if you watch my previous video against Vasari, is you just keep building Tempest because you should be having this 1000 supply range. Whereas if we look at the Vasari player, well, I mean, it's computer, so it doesn't matter, but because so the computer kind of like gets to cheat and do whatever it wants. But normally the Vasari is stuck here at the 600 supply range, but of course, this being the AI has a massive eco advantages already, and is able to. I don't know how the heck is they able to do. Got up to this tech at some point, or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's able to already cap that, get to that supply. But overall, it doesn't quite matter because I've massive like from the fleet advantage I gained from the micro, and just the fact that I'm still building out of something like how many is it? 4 factories here. I'm able to kind of keep up production. I'm not building any factories here because 4 factories is about what I can sustain reliably, assuming I want to transition into techs such as specifically the Guardian. So this way it adds the extra bit of tankiness for your Tempests, and also I'm building some Purge Vessels because I want to bomb out this volcano in the meantime as well. And also I want to bomb out, of course, these 2 planets once I held the air superiority already over them, which I have comfortably done so right now. This is a really weird queuing thing. I don't know why. Well, actually, no, I do know why, but for whatever, like the primordial started building from here, jumping to Pranas, and then from Pranas to here, instead of going from the sun to the to the volcano to here, which is going to be a much more preferable route because there's no hostile ships here. Um, yeah, so a little bit annoying because the Tempest coming from this side is like much worse. So what I should have done is I should have rallied all the factories to here and then just built from here, but I think I'm using the fleet auto supply. Speaking of which, I have fleets in the Purge Vessels separated, so this way the Purge Vessels can follow different orders and Raptures, so I can keep the Rapture safe. And yeah, do the primary fighting with this fleet over here, the appropriately named Alpha Fleet. And at this point, since I have enough air superiority, I want to try to whittle down the defenses so I can, take kind of have it over this entire system. I think maybe this was slightly ambitious. Yeah, because I got the mouse off to kill a good amount of Conrax. That's why there's so few Conrax. There were 23 Conrax, and they actually managed to get this level 6 Rapture. That was a little bit of an oopsie. Big mistake on my part, actually. Because normally I would say this is a very, like, game-changing mistake. But you know what? As I said, the AI isn't great at microing, so you still take I can still take really good trades over them. But boy, is it able to spam ships though at this point. The fabricator cruisers building letting it constantly replenish the Conrax at the front lines. I'm trying to like just once again do the standard micro stuff, but I'm also hitting this spot is nice because I can just kind of clip all the reinforcements as they jump in, and I'm just trying to get kind of good damage while kind of scattering these ships around. Also, I'll move this lets me kind of get the Purge Vessels into position. This was a bit of a mistake, I think. I should have actually maybe stuck around here. Oh, the reason I actually, now I remember, I move around up here because my reinforcement taking really its time to get here. So even if I'm getting good trades, my the ratio that I'm kind of getting ships back in is not looking too favorable. So I kind of have to pull a little bit closer to where ships are going to likely jump from. And at this point, I'm noticing they're jumping from this side. So yeah, it's a little bit annoying. So this part isn't like the best, I would say, as far as play is concerned. But we're still holding in, and also I'm kite. As I said, I'm trying to like kite it to get them to like get things split up. The egg, of course, is now caught out, so I could kill the egg. So that's another level 5. I don't have to worry about. I build a new rapture so it can start because I want. As soon as I was losing my old one, I build a new one so this way it can start soaking global XP. As you notice, I still haven't bothered taking that. And at this point, let's see, yeah, just if you look at my military, it's pretty standard. Still mass tempests and trying to get to a point where I can transition to guardians. So yeah, let's see. That might be. Oh, so I set up for now my new forward production here for factories, and I think I replace. No, so now I have a total of 8 factories. Yeah, but at some point I should. At this point, I really should have been getting greater factories. I think over here to replace with guardians, but yeah. So other than that, the Conrax are trying to focus firing my Rapture, but there's not enough of them to get the kill. I do retreat it back, and I get the factory repair, so this way I can have my Rapture sitting here and just start repairing while it's, especially because it could just pick up the derelicts here anyway, and get more XP that way. So yeah, but because the Conrax were focused my Guardians, it let me snipe off those Conrax as they come on in. And of course, once again, we have huge air superiority and supply advantage. Yeah, so pretty good. And as you can see, my new Rapture has now already hit level 6 with a new Malice ready to go. And the computer transition to oppressors, which is a little annoying. Tempests do very badly against oppressors. You take forever to kill them, kill one. So that's a signal that I need something else. Ideally, what you will want is capital ships to deal with oppressors, but I think I'm too poor for that, so I think I end up going Illuminators. And also, sell off some exotics if you have extras that you don't really need. These I'm going to save up because I do want a Halcyon, and ideally I want a Radiance to help deal with the oppressors and Conrac squad. But because I have enough air superiority here, I can start focusing on the defenses, and then once I claim this, it's pretty much going to be game over. So I'm able to whittle down the defenses. The AI has not really much of a fleet left. As you can see, it's about 500 supply to 757. And yes, there are 10 oppressors here. That can be a bit of a problem. But with Rapture, I have the Dominate to take control of oppressors. I have Vertigo to decrease the amount of damage they do. And I can still focus fire down when the oppressors hasn't hit yet that mass that Tempest will really, really struggle against. And I'm going to build purge vessels to start bombing out the other auxiliary, like kind of surrounding planets, while I have the AI kind of pinned here. Because at any point, if the AI sends a large enough fleet to deal with the bombing, I could just go straight to the homeworld at this point. So as I said, pretty GG at this juncture of the game. I actually forgot that I don't have nanites, so I had to wait till a missionary ship to colonize this, and so forth. I was so used to having nanites and then pilgrimaging that I never built a missionary ship as Wrath. But yeah, so anyway, as I said, same idea. Start bombing this out, bomb this out, bomb this, bomb these out, right? And take them over once I bomb them out. Capture the derelict. Help me with some extra stuff. Oh, actually, it looks like I'm not really bothering to go to Illuminators this game. I kind of forgot how I played out this game. And yeah, here I'm going to research the upgraded Volcano thing because I just want more logistics slots as well. I'm going to get 2 greater factories, get my Halcyon here. And it also would have been good to get more Raptures at this point by essentially surveying my homeworld some more. Got pretty lucky, got the research tech upgrade for my homeworld, so that really helped me kind of keep even in terms of military research against the AI. And yeah, and you can see Haven Domes income is pretty decent for just spamming ships. But once again, I'm not greeding. I'm not trying to get into Illuminators. I know I can't quite afford it with this income in terms of like keeping up good Illuminator production. But I have finished researching it, so I'm thinking about like adding a few just for that extra DPS and taking down the oppressors, because capital ships are unfortunately still a little bit too expensive at this point for me to be able to get something like 3 or 4 Raptures. So yeah, the AI jumps here after I'm jumping here. So I think I'm okay with that. One thing is what it means is I can't supply through this way. So I'm going to just start building and stacking Illuminators here instead. So while I kind of bomb these out, and as I said, if he jumps here, I would like to threaten this, but because he's kind of quote unquote calling my bluff a little bit, I decided to go back here. He retreats back here when I'm about to show up. I can't quite take this yet because it has a starbase there. So a starbase is quite a lot of extra firepower, even though it's in the wrong spot. But I didn't really quite notice that at that time. So I start messing up because, as I said, I want at least 2 Halcyons just to deal with the Conrax, so my caps are alive. And now I have a decent amount of Illuminators. Not too many, because as I said, I can't quite afford it yet. But 1,500 fleet supply is quite nice, because it basically means that I'm looking for just a fleet advantage. And you can see here, 1,500 fleet supply against about 900 or so. So that's actually pretty good. And I'm getting ready to jump because I see that he has split his fleet up to take this and take this, which I've bombed out and colonized. This I was planning on building a starbase for at some point. I think I just finished researching it, but I don't have the white. Same idea here, but he started building a starbase here already, so this planet I'm not going to even bother trying to hold. And I jump into his cap, homeworld, and this is basically at this point I have such an overwhelming fleet supply advantage. Yeah, 400 supply advantage over him. He's got some supply here that doesn't look right. It says only 10. Oh, yeah, it's only one Conrack. So, yeah, he just doesn't have a whole lot here. And also, on top of that, fleet is split. I can pick off this group, and this group as it's flying on in. I have enough DPS concentration for that. So, you can see, basically, can kill off all the oppressors first, steal one of them. And, yeah, that's about it. So, we could kind of like just speed things up here. But from here on, just as long as I'm maintaining constantly build in, I'm going to, of course, overwhelmingly win this fight, get the Malice off, of course, as well, which helps me pop all of these. And yeah, the game is kind of done from there, of course. So yeah, you could just see it's just got a little bit ways to go. I think I forgot to turn off home roll victory, but you can clearly see it doesn't quite matter. I have I have every system anyway. So if I take this, I mean, he's still dead. So yeah. Yeah, obviously, speed is on, all that stuff. Whoop, there's a bell. Sorry about that. Kind of interrupting recording. But yeah, if you look at the stake stock of the situation, key is just making sure I don't have stuff research that I don't need. So shields, missiles, hull, just for that extra bit of health. What beam upgrades for the illuminators, and of course supply. Everything else, not really a whole lot touched. I know in another video I liked Vigiluses. That's more of a PvP thing. I would say Vigiluses are not that great against AI. It's better off just to have Alcyons there because there's going to be so much massive missiles that you trying to keep up in terms of Vigilus counts. Probably it's not very feasible because you're just going to be behind in terms of economy. Now, of course, I have a ton of economy at this point because I haven't lost that many ships and I'm fleet capped. Until I could get to this 2000 thing, and also at this point I start going to Civ 3, but it's of course totally over. So yeah, hopefully this will share some light into how to handle the AI at higher difficulties is impossible on a random 1v1 map. So the highest difficulty as of this moment, the AI is random, so rolled Vasari in this instance, and how I would choose to play, which is just, as you can see, it's a little one-dimensional. You do have to build a lot of tempests until you can stabilize the situation and get air superiority. And you can see here I've replaced all but one lesser factory with greater factories because I've transitioned over to just building illuminators to finish the job. There's a bit of a misconception, and unfortunately I aided this misconception with an earlier video that illuminators are going to be like a kind of the mainstay build for Advent Dispatch, but in hindsight, as I played more, I don't think that's necessarily true. Illuminators, think of it more as a win more unit. So once you have secured air superiority over your opponent, then you can bring Illuminators, start building Illuminators to kind of like really just pressure them with that extra DPS. Because your ships, if you have air superiority, they're not going to be dying. And the big issue with Illuminators is that they're squishy. So if you're not worried about that squishiness because you're killing them way faster than they're killing you because you just have extra supply, then Illuminators are good. But if you're kind of using Illuminators to catch up, they're not so great because they would just keep dying and you're just not able to do anything else but build more Illuminators. Just kind of like throw out the front lines into a meat grinder situation, and that's when Illuminators really, really falter. Caps are much better in that situation because caps just have that extra staying power for their cost. So I would recommend actually going more heavy capitals. You can already see here I have 5 capitals actually going, but because as I said I'm winning and I don't have a great econ, I'm just building Illuminators actually just to kind of like stopgap that. But yeah, so that's the replay. For those of you who are curious about like kind of what getting the replay, you can find it on the official Sins Discord. You can just PM me for it. But hope that helped, and take care.